I've worked with a number of different families, and every so often you'll get the father or the mother will say, "Oh yeah, there'll be some surprises in my will." And every time I hear that, I just die, right? Because it is just setting things up to be crazy. And while there might be an element of humor in there, actually all humor goes out the door really, really quickly. At Family Business Central, we talk about transparency, and it's really important when you're talking about family and business to have a real level of transparency. When people say, "Oh, there'll be some surprises," by definition, we have a lack of transparency there. And so you can have situations where people might not want to say what's in their will or show the family what's in their will. And then when it comes to dealing with the will and reading the will, people get a real shock. And they're in no shape or situation to be dealing with shock because they're grieving, and they get this awful news, which isn't a surprise, it's a shock. And I've seen families torn apart. I've seen siblings not talk to each other for 10 or 12 years at a time. Boycott going to weddings, boycott seeing each other's children because of decisions that were made that weren't told to them. So what we prefer, in fact, what really is, I believe, incredibly important when you're talking about families, and particularly families in business, is be upfront. Talk about the decisions that you want to make, the decisions that you want in your will, for example, how things are going to be split up. We dealt with a situation recently where the father told his two children what the split of the shares were going to be, and the son got very, very upset, and because he was going, "Well, I expected more than this, and what's going on? Is this all I'm worth?" And it did create a challenge, right? It was some couple of quite tough meetings there. But what I said to the father, I said, "Well, thank God we're having this conversation now. Imagine if you had died and your children are deeply grieving the fact that you have now gone, and then they read the will and they get this message. Your son would have never talked to his sister ever again, and the roll-on of that would have been disastrous." So forget the surprises. Put your wills on the table. Put the documents and decisions that you want to make, get them on the table, discuss them with everybody, so that actually people can ask questions, they can sort things out, and they know what's going to happen. And I speak to a lot of founders here who no one wants to admit that they're mortal, right? But actually, if you think about what you want when we go, we want our kids to be able to get on with things, to be able to live their lives, and if it's running our business, then that's wonderful and that sort of thing. We don't want them fighting. We want them to be able to just grieve and get on with things, right? Have surprises in there and you're really risking a lot. So no surprises.